Hey everybody, welcome to Tales from a Professional Nerd, episode 10. As you can tell by the name of the episode, I left my door to the studio open and you guys get a rare treat. You get to meet one of the dogs. Oh, both of them are in here. Apparently, welcome to Tales from a Professional Nerd, where if you leave the door to the kitchen area open, you get visitors. Hey, boys, let's see if we can have you guys say hi. So here we have Bruce. Bruce, can you look up? This is Brucey, as in Bruce Wayne. Hi, buddy. You are drinking a bunch of water because your face is wet. And then John's, also known as Johnny, is hidden under my desk. All right, boys. I'm trying to record a video here. Let's. This might end up in the blooper reel. Okay, come on, keep going, John. Let's have you get introduced too. Don't want to be rude. And this one's Johnny. Oh, John. There he is. So that's Bruce and John. All right. So you guys can go be on your way. Go lay down someplace else. All right, so ignore them, I suppose. As I was saying, so welcome to Tales from Professional Nerd, episode 10, the dog episode, apparently. The name of today's episode is I Got Them No Origins Blues. So Origins is a gaming convention, or a game expo in Columbus, Ohio. It's about 4 hours from my house. And I generally go to that show pretty much every year. I really enjoy it. I love the show. It's nice and laid back. It's a good, solid show that is a lot of fun. And the hotel that it's attached to and has been for well over a decade has the big bar on too, which I've probably done more business to the bar itself, but to also just in general, just good business has happened. There's a lot of great social camaraderie. It's a great show, and my Facebook feed and my Twitter is filled with people that are having a great time. The show's just now getting started this weekend. And I've got colleagues and coworkers and employers that are there that I would love to be able to go and hang out with. It just really wasn't in the cards this year. Being a freelancer, sometimes the money's not there, the time's not there. Just without a company that's setting up your schedule for you, or for one of the companies that I work for wasn't going to set me up. It's a little too much out of my budget. Knowing some other things that are coming down the pipe that I just couldn't make it. So as the episode says, I got them blues. It's sad. I don't like missing shows that are this good, or that are that good for my soul and my well-being. Not to mention my professional life, but. I got a lot of good stuff on my plate still. I got a lot of stuff going on, so this weekend I'm probably doing a lot of work done. I know that I'm also volunteering at a local it's called the Taste of Tippecanoe. It's a local food and kind of socializing event downtown. It does a bunch of money for the city, but it's also a ton of good food and drinks, and there'll be some bands playing and things. It's a great time, and I'm volunteering for a few hours, basically playing security for the bank. I get to run around and collect money bags and make sure nobody screws with them before we put them in the bank. Yeah, because I'm so intimidating. Yeah, I'll also have a police officer with me, so there's that. But yeah, so this week, now that we've gotten through the craziness with the dogs and why I'm doing this Origins episode. It's been a crazy week. I'm just about done with I'm just a couple of hundred words away from being done with my first official Shadowrun 6th World role-playing contribution to the 30 Nights book. which I'm excited about that. I got to add a bunch of cool stuff to that, and it's a very neat concept. It's a storyline arc that allows for the game master to have just enough information that they can really kind of do a fantastic, long-standing arc of games in Shadowrun Sixth World, but also give them enough. It's not railroading or have them go here and then go here and go here and go here. Read this paragraph to them like a lot of the old modules tend to be, and that can get, especially in a game as fluid as Shadowrun, that you could really get yourself shoehorned into a bad situation if you're just reading from a paragraph and one of your players throws you a monkey wrench. So I'm just getting that wrapped up. We have officially finalized the table of celebrity or industry celebs for my Gen Con charity event, which tickets are still on sale for. Please, if you're going to Gen Con and you've got a couple of hours and you want to come enjoy some live crazy D&D, I'll put the event number in the description. We'd love to have you come out. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's already, like, just the conversation thread amongst the industry celebs getting us ready for this has already been a blast. So I'm really excited, and I hope we pack the house and earn a lot of money for the charities, but also just have a good time, because that's what this is about. But because of that, it occurred to me that I'm going to have to make some of these characters up in the next month or so, to get some stats out to my players so they know what they're going to be dealing with. And two of my one of the things that I did this week is two of my player characters they are represented by races that aren't in any of the books yet, player character wise. So I had to create them, and so the D&D Beyond app, website, whatever you want to call it, I love it. I know it can get expensive if you if you buy a bunch of the books and go crazy, especially if you're buying them also in the physical world. But for those of us like me that I buy the kind of the individual pieces that I need, it's a great tool. I think I keep track of most of my own player characters from my own games that I run, or the games that I play in. Not to mention, for the games that I ran in GaryCon, I will make and save and print all of the player character packets using D&D Beyond, because it does the math for us. It puts pretty much everything you need. It's a great tool, and I know a lot of people, myself included, it makes me kind of crazy when someone uses like a tablet at the game table as their character sheet. But I will say that even as just an electronic option for the people who don't want to, maybe they don't have a printer, maybe they don't want to print 7 pages of character every week for their game. It's a great tool. It's great. D&D Beyond, check it out. You know what? I'll put the link in the thing, because why not? It's awesome. And who knows? Maybe they will. They'll catch wind of this and be like, "Ooh, this guy, he knows what he's doing. Let's give him some work." So either way, man, shameless plugs. I've made 2 of the player character races in the homebrew content of D&D Beyond. I have not looked at any of the comments yet. I'm very confident in my own personal abilities of being able to create something like this fairly and evenly, especially considering that for the most part this is a one-off sort of thing that might turn into something bigger down the road. But I'm very confident in what I've created, and hopefully my players will be happy too. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. That and a lot of painting, working on some commission stuff. I got a little bit behind in the queue on a few things, but I got a couple of things finished. If you've been watching my eBay stuff, the giant Earth Elemental is done. I put up new pictures of him, and he looks sweet. He's enormous. He's awesome. And, you know, for $30, he's a steal. Go buy them. Buy them. Man, today's all about shameless plugs, isn't it? Yes, Brian, it is. But, so, because I've got this kind of I'm missing Origins blues, and I've sort of been promising to try the new hobby rig, I'm going to do what I do when I get kind of low, when I start, I don't want to say depressed, because I'm not depressed. I'm still living a good life. I'm playing Xbox, I'm hanging out with my kids, I'm playing with my dogs. I can't really complain. Not really. So, basically, what I do when I start feeling blue or when I start getting down, I try to make room at the painting studio, at the painting table, to get some stuff done. You know, whether it's commission work or stuff for me, or I'll grab a model out of, grab a random role-playing model and be like, you know, I can make use of this at some point. All of that stuff together, it lets me kind of get my mind off of things and sort of sink into forward progression on the just raw creation. And that's what I'm doing. So today, we're going to try out the new hobby rig. I think I've got it where it works, where it's supposed to work. We're not gonna use it as a class, or I'm not ready for that. I'm not going to be teaching. This is not a teachable moment. You might see me do some stuff that you go, oh, hey, what are you doing? Ask in the comments. But today I'm going to probably maybe do some chit-chatting, talk about some stuff while I'm just sort of painting and getting my mind off the fact that I'm not at Origins rocking out and having a great time in a different fashion. So without further ado, let's see if I can't get the rig up and running the way I want it to. Hello! So you can tell by the picture-in-picture thing that's going on that I got my dual rig to work. So basically, I can talk to you, or you can probably look at the top of my head for the most part, while I'm working on stuff. So I'll look up and talk to you from time to time, especially if I'm going to show you cool things. But today, let's see what I'm working on. So I've got a couple of super mutants that I am already got primed, did some converting to for the Fallout Wasteland Warriors game, Wasteland Warfare game. That is actually my my chosen faction, are my super mutants. Only because they don't have an all-ghoul faction yet. If they eventually will, then I'm sure I'll probably jump ship. I've got a bunch of other primed guys. These guys might look familiar. I primed a few of the... Oh, big one. I primed a few of the werewolves for a commission a couple weeks ago, and then life kind of got in the way, so I didn't get a chance to finish them. I did finish one of the ones I did prime with them, though, and I'm going to get her nice and close to the camera. She is my... There we go. If I can get her to... it's not going to focus real well. So she's the Dryad on the team. Basically a woodsy football player chick. She was a lot of fun to do. And then I've got a couple of the client has asked specifically for some star players. So basically kind of regular models that he's turning into captains. That I'm going to throw some paint on today. And then also, there's this fabulous little monster. It is the... it's called the Ogre 2, but it's basically Ripley's exoskeleton from Aliens, except in a slightly fantasy form. So it's got two big steam shovel hands and a woman riding around inside. And apparently this plays football. So... yeah, I'm just gonna throw some paint down on some models. Nothing's crazy today. I don't want to go too deep. I'm not gonna here's a a how-to on dry brushing or anything like that. So if you see me do something that you're like, oh, I kind of want to know what more about that, let me know, and I'll maybe focus on it later or comment on it in the comments. What you might notice is my new silicone pat. So this is a silicone baking sheet that I picked up at I think Bed Bath & Beyond. I think that's right. Because I had, while I was making, when I was pouring molds for the Earth Elemental that I'm selling on eBay, I spilled a whole bunch of silicone goo all over the old mat, and as you well know, the only thing that sticks to silicone is more silicone. So basically, it completely ruined the other mat, and I had to scrap it and make a new one, or get a new one. They're like $15 at Bed Bath & Beyond. This one's already getting dirty and stuff, and I know they wash off real easy, but I will probably buy 2 or 3 more at some point when I can. But yeah, so basically I'm just gonna throw some paint down on models and talk to you guys. Oh, I wanted to show you because I did. I know I showed on the last video. I showed a couple of the first 2 painted mechanical worm things. Well, I went ahead and cast up a couple more for myself because I was putting together Dark Age armies, and I realized that I'm probably never going to field just 2 welder drones. So here are literally a handful of. I did a little cutting and hacking, and added an extra little bit, so that way I can see them differently. They're painted a little different, and I can tell them on the battlefield. But yeah, so I did a couple of those, and then this guy I'm super proud of, and he is a monster, literally. So here is the Greater Earth Elemental. Grr. I went ahead and flocked parts of the flat top on there, just because he's supposed to be like basically just this summoned up big chunk of crystals and stone. I painted some of the outcroppings on him as crystal, and then gloss sealed them with some nail polish to make them pop. But yeah, so he's enormous. He's a big beastie. Let's see one of the other big guys I've got that I can compare him to. So here, oh god, he's dusty. So here's the Icon, pretty beefy robot model, standing next to my Greater Earth Elemental. Grr, smash, rah, fight. So weird. But yeah, so he's awesome. He turned out really good. I need to get some more paint on some of my other Earthcast guys, including some of the unreleased stuff that I was able to get before CMON stopped sending models out. So I do have some cool stuff that I can't sell, obviously, but I can get paint on it and call it a parting gift for the person who did a ton with Dark Age for several years. So I had access to some unreleased models that I'll eventually get paint on, and at a convention or something, we'll get to throw down and you guys will get to see them in person. But Earth Elemental, not theirs. That's mine. You can get them eBay. Yeah. All right, so I kind of want to just maybe start throwing some dry brush down, some base coats. My super mutants are, so I've got a bunch done already. In fact, these are my last 2 super mutants that I need to get painted before all of my current supplies are all painted out. And so I am trying to find a brush. There we go. Also, while I've got an opportunity, someone commented on this. So these, by the way, these little wooden paint brush holders, my buddy Matt Holmes, he made those for me, and I've got two of them right now. I'm probably going to eventually get a third just because they're awesome. I have always been taught, don't store your brushes. Obviously, don't store your brushes tip down because the brushes will get squashed. And I've always been against putting them in a jar or something like, face up, because all that does is any kind of water or residue or anything, it sort of traps it down in the bell of the brush. And eventually you get gross frayed brushes. So I saw a paintbrush rack like this somewhere. I don't even remember where I saw it, but I saw this paintbrush rack and asked my buddy Matt, because he's super good into woodworking and lathing, and he makes like fancy pens and stuff. Basically, he's phenomenal and in just about every way. So I asked him, I was like, do you think if I drew this for you or sent you a picture, do you think you'd be able to... Oh, my picture in picture is in the way of what I'm working on. Do you think you'd be able to get these made? And he made one of them. He basically asked me, he's like, well, how thick do the pencils do the paintbrushes get, at one end or the other? How deep do they need to go? How wide? It just asked me for a bunch of dimensions and stuff. And I shot him to the best of my ability. These are the dimensions of all the stuff that I have. And with very few exceptions, like if I've got a brush, one of my... what is this? One of my artists. What is it? Yeah, one of my Windsors has got a very weird, very like bell on both ends. So that's the only one that really doesn't fit in the thin holder. I could put it in the thicker holder, but then it'd be all brushed up against my base coat brushes and priming brushes. And I've got one brush rack that's basically all for detail brushes, and then I got one brush rack that's for base coats and priming, and the ones that get replaced more often because I beat the hell out of them. Case in point, the one that's in my hand is off of that rack. But yeah, Matt made these, and I tell him, I don't know how tough they were. How tough they were to make. If they were difficult to put together or to lathe in whatever way that. Again, I am no woodworker, so I don't even know what he did to make those do what they do. But whatever the case may be, if it's not too much of a hassle for him, I'm probably gonna have him make another one. And if he ever sets up like a shop, like a order online kind of, hey, buy my cool stuff, maybe an Etsy shop or something, I will let you guys know, because he is crazy good at what he does. And in fact, I may ask him if it's okay if I put his like email address in the description of the video, and if anybody wants just to order straight from him or something like that. You know what? You'll find out if there's an email address in there in the description, then you know that I got the okay, and we can do that, because he really does need to sell them. They're fantastic, and I'm all for anybody who's listened to any of my videos knows that I am all for people being able to live their life and make their money with their creativity. And if it was up to me, I would have him make my next game table, because he has got, like I said, he's got some skills. I'm talking him up a lot, and I haven't seen him in a couple of weeks. He works with with a couple of buddies of mine and my ex-wife over at a software company, and I think that I don't think I've run into him in a while, because I also know that he lives farther away. I'm just rambling. You guys are like, oh, okay, we're just here listening to Bryan talk about his friends and ex-wife and all that craziness. So let's see, what else can we talk about to stay on the general topic of
Origins being far away and where I can't go and enjoy it right now. But to be happy for those people who can. Let's see. So I know at Origins they are selling they're supposed to be selling the first of the beginners boxes of Shadowrun 6th Ed, which is kind of like the here's a handful of characters and a little miniature adventure and kind of how to a real quick how to play Sixth World. I hope that I will be able to get my hands on a copy of that shortly, and then I will probably walk you guys through. I'll probably walk you guys through some of that, just because I am super excited for Sixth World, not just because of my part in it, but because I'm a big fan of Shadowrun, and I think that it will be good for newer players if they want to get into that kind of cyberpunk world. Oh! Speaking of cyberpunk, so they finally announced the release date for Cyberpunk 2077, which is a video game. I know a lot of people are like, but you don't talk about video games on here a lot. I'm going to talk about this one because I used to play the Cyberpunk role-playing game back in the day. It's one of the reasons why it took me forever to really get on board with Shadowrun, because I always thought that it was, just kind of a derped up version of Cyberpunk, and I loved Cyberpunk so much that, why would you add dragons and magic and orcs and trolls and stuff? Well, it turns out they're two separate things, and they're both awesome. And I haven't really looked at anything cyberpunk in a long time. It's been many, many moons. And so when the video trailers came out for this Cyberpunk 2077, I was like, well, okay, well, this game looks really cool. And then the more that I hear about it, the more I am on board. Like, I dig it. And throw in the fact that at E3 last weekend, the Electronics Entertainment Expo out in California, they got Keanu Reeves, who, by the way, is one of my personal Hollywood idols. He's amazing. He has done comedies. He has done action. He has done drama. He even did a couple of thrillers and one borderline horror movie. He's super talented, and you take it a step further, and not only is he talented, but he is got legitimate humility. He loves being in the movies. He loves seeing movies. He loves getting to help out other people with their movies. And then all of this wraps up together in someone who, for the most part in his life, took care of his sick sister. And, I know I'm getting sappy on some guy who makes millions of dollars. But he's also, I posted a video on my Facebook just recently where this guy, on a movie set where he's making $350 million or something silly like that, he picked up a carpenter's hammer and helped them make sets because they work too hard. Who does that? Who has that kind of awesomeness? And the answer to that question is Keanu freaking Reeves. And I got distracted. So he goes out, gets on stage, announces stuff for 2077. The crowd goes crazy. Someone in the crowd calls him breathtaking, and he goes, "No, you're breathtaking." It's not a comeback. It's awesome. And so awesome, in fact, that apparently the company, CD Projekt Red, or Rect, or whatever they're called, the company who makes the game, they tracked down the person who called Keanu breathtaking, and are going to give him, or her, the first copy, or a free copy of 2077 when it comes out. So how cool is that? You know, like, just I love when cool people are involved with things and cool things happen, and this is no exception. You know, this is a good time. Now, the reason why I bring that up is, aside from the fact that Shadowrun's related to Cyberpunk and all of that, is that if Cyberpunk does in fact do super well, like as a video game, and it excels and it just goes over the moon, there is nothing that doesn't say that we might see a resurgence of the role playing game. You know, anytime this sort of stuff happens, when a movie comes out or a new TV show or whatever, when that kind of stuff happens, the next step is almost always, someone in the role-playing field goes, you know what? I wonder if there's a new energized market for it. So we might see some new Cyberpunk stuff down the road. How cool would that be? Get to see some metal cops fighting against the machine men with their microwaver guns. It's all real things, at least in that game. I'm pumped. I'm excited for all of these things. You know, these are all, again, this is all good stuff. This is all fantastic, and the more games that get played, the happier I am. Even if it's games that I don't necessarily dig, you know, like, it's no secret I am not a fan of. I don't hate it, but I'm not a fan of Firefly. And so every time I see a Firefly or a Serenity, role-playing game or board game or whatever, my first instinct is to make a little fun of it, that kind of thing. But overall, if people are having a good time, I shouldn't complain. I shouldn't bitch. I shouldn't make it. I shouldn't take joy in popping someone else's soap bubbles, And I freely admit that I have been guilty of that in the past. I'll see somebody say something and be like, oh, guess what? I'm going to interject. I'm going to say something here that nobody cares about. And it is one of the things that I think overall comes from the fact that I'm so passionate about the other stuff that I do that I want others to be on board. I want other people to be as passionate about stuff as me. And so sometimes that passion is misguided and ends up being, I'm passionate about something, and that means that I have to be passionately against your thing. And if I've done that to you, if you're a subscriber or you're watching this and I've done this to you, know that it probably isn't, with only a few exceptions, it probably isn't that I'm actually against the thing. It's probably just because I want you to enjoy something else more. And that's a pretty bold statement for me, and it's kind of I'm coming to... this is my come to Jesus moment. I'm letting y'all know that sometimes maybe my mouth is looking to make friends on a different level than it should be. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just rambling. I ramble. That's what I do. Let's find me another color. I'm trying to paint this other wolf, so I don't want to be exactly the same. That's lazy. So let's find another coat of gray. Let's do an armor gray as a base coat dry brush on wolf number 2. So I've got a paint shaker here, a battery operated paint shaker, but while I'm recording, not only do I not want to run it because it is painfully loud, it would also vibrate almost the entire table, including what I've got the cameras mounted to. So let's not do that. I'm just going to have to shake things the old-fashioned way and People just have to deal with that. Hope you guys don't mind that I'm going to have to shake by hand. Shake like some kind of plebe. What the hell am I thinking? So let's talk some more stuff. I'm also going to take a drink of my coffee because I'm thirsty. But yeah, so let's see. This painting commission, I've got a bunch of models I got to get done. But I've got a lot of time to do it in. My stepdaughter is coming back from camp tomorrow, but she's actually only going to be home for a couple of hours before she turns around and heads to Atlanta to go be with her father for several weeks. She's been at horse camp for the last 2 weeks. We sent her to Girl Scout horse camp, and so by what she has said in her letters and things, she's having a blast, which is awesome. But it means that we're barely going to get to see her before she heads out to her dad Zach's house. Now, unlike camp, we'll be able to like Skype with her and things like that. So that'll be a lot easier on us parentals to get a chance to talk to her and such. But aside from that, I've got the Tasty Tip Canoe I mentioned earlier, and then I think I'm playing D&D on Sunday. Maybe. I think. I don't know what's going on. I might go see a movie with the wife. It's going to be kind of a sort of a chill weekend here at the Steele household. So I'll probably get some more time here painting in the studio. Just gives me an opportunity to get more of this stuff done. Because the sooner I get this stuff done, the sooner and to be frank, the sooner I get paid. Because I mean, obviously not these super mutants; those are mine. But I've got a couple of other things. I got to get the Dremel out. I'm working on a base, a big MDF base for my buddy's Warlord Titan. Yeah, you heard me right. He bought a full-on Warlord Titan from Forge World that costs an arm and a leg, but it's going to be gorgeous. Chris is an amazing painter when he puts his mind to it, and he's taking a lot of time and a lot of effort to put this thing together to make this beast into a reality. And I think when he's done, he's going to have the kind of piece that you put out under glass as a gamer. Get out to play with it once in a while, but generally speaking, it's going to be the kind of thing when people come over to his house for parties, or almost maybe he could even use it as like a centerpiece for a different style of game. It's going to be awesome. But he gave me, because I've got the dremeling kits and I can pour some resin in the things where I've sanded so to make them smooth, that sort of thing. He gave me this giant MDF base that I've got to cut all the stuff out of to best mount his Titan, because that thing, that Titan, that's a multi-$1,000 investment that he can't have just teeter-tottered on 2 feet. Because, I mean, yeah, he could, but I can't even imagine. Let's say he takes this thing to a convention to play in a special event or something, and something happens, he sneezes, he trips, some kid who's not being properly parented. That's right, I said parented. That makes it a verb, not a noun. So some kid ends up knocking something over and it lands into it and that thing snaps off at the heels. I know if I was him, I would cry real tears. Tears of rage, sure, but just honest to goodness tears. And we don't want that to happen. So he has invested in just about everything you need to keep this thing safe, aside from like a bulletproof coffin that it rides around in when it's done. And I may have just given him that idea. Uh, so basically, the where was I going with this? Oh, the base, I need to cut out the slots and stuff for it. So I got a lot of hobby stuff that I'm gonna need to get done this weekend. And I think that it'll be a fun time for me to spend a little time in here. Let me go see a movie, go get dinner, hang out with my wife, come back and forth. I think I have my son this weekend as well, at least for a little while. So that'll be fun. One of these days, I'm going to record a segment when both kids are here, get you a chance to meet my children. You got to meet my four-legged dogs earlier today, because I wasn't paying attention. But either way, I know that they would be excited to say hi, and they're a big part of my life. And this whole vlog thing is not just about let's talk about the topic of the week. It is also about let's discuss what makes my life as a game industry dork, professional nerd, as the title says. What makes that tick, and my kids are a big part of that, especially when they're in school. I'm a little concerned about next year. They're both going to new schools that are farther away. That means it's gonna be more driving for me to take them back and forth, and means probably longer hours to make up for that, or a lot more weekend work when I don't have to worry about driving them back and forth. Kids are a big responsibility, and I'm not gonna be the guy that says, my job's more important than my family. My job helps my family be able to live, but I need to make sure that my family is taken care of long before I make sure my job is happy. I can't. If I ever had a client that I told them, hey, a deadline slipped by a couple of days, I'm really sorry. My kid got sick, my wife got sick. These are things that happen. And yeah, I've mentioned before that you got to be ready to roll with that. But sometimes life hands them to you. There's nothing you can do about it. You get kind of slapped by life. And if I ever had a client that made me had to choose between my family and my work, that is no choice. That's a dumb ultimatum, and I won't handle that well. In fact, I have passed on very high-paying staff job opportunities in the past because they wanted me to move. And I am in a position in my life right now that I won't move for a job. My son is here. My family is here. My friends are here. My playtesters are here. My life is here. And in this day and age, unless you are hiring me to work in your warehouse, frankly, I don't see a reason why you have to have someone in your physical presence in my industry. Maybe if you need to show them physical prototypes or something, but even then, if you've got good planning skills and you ship things properly and you've got access to Skype and Zoom and all the other teleconferencing software out there, I really just don't understand why people think that that's necessary. because frankly, I firmly believe that it isn't. And I've proven that on multiple occasions. I've worked for companies full time that are 5 to 6 hours away on the time difference. Like the actual time difference between our companies or our physical locations is a quarter of the day, and we made it work for years. I think that it is, if somebody is that specific, there better be a good reason. There needs to be a reason. And if it's not, and if it is just that, they want to be able to watch you work, they want to make sure that you are working when you say you're working, then that's a trust issue. And you should be able to trust your employees unless they give you a reason not to. If you give them deadlines and they hit their deadlines, if you give them projects and they hit their projects, you shouldn't worry about whether or not, they punched a clock from 9 to 5. Because they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're doing what you're expecting them to do in that time frame. Whether or not they are doing it every minute of that time frame, they're still meeting your expectations, and they're meeting what you've set as the goal for that time frame. So the rest of that should be irrelevant, in my opinion. Again, maybe I'm soapboxing here, but I do think that in our current age, in our current theater of stuff, it's unnecessary to have to be in a physical location for most of the jobs in my industry, or at least most of the jobs that I'm capable of in this industry. I'm sure there's probably things that I don't do or things that I'm not, that's not on my list of stuff that I plan to do, that you have to be involved in a different way. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just going off of me personally and my experience, because that's really all I can go off of. Heck, if you're listening to this and you're a different part of the industry and you're like, nope, I couldn't do what I do if I wasn't hands-on, let me know. Put it in the comments, because I've been saying this for years, and no one's ever told me, nope, Bryan, you are wrong, and this is why. And if I'm wrong, let me know. I'm be the first person to admit my own shortcomings and failures. So yeah, let me know if you can think of something aside from like warehouse work that you would need to physically be in a location in the gaming industry in order to work, aside from an employer simply wanting to be aware of what you're doing every moment of your workday. I got on that tangent. I went all crazy pants. What was I doing? What were we talking about before then? We were talking about commissions and my kids. Oh, yeah. So Nori's heading off to her dad's, and Connor's with her mom right now, or with his mom right now, but I'll have him some this weekend, and then, of course, some next week. But, yeah, summer is good for Bryan's creativity. It is good for me to be able to push forward on stuff. And I think that we will see a lot of good productivity in various forms, not just the Gen Con charity event, and not just working on painting models and sculpting some more stuff, because I do have some more stuff I want to sculpt as well. But also I think that I might be able to actually start making some more headway again toward Seventh Crown. Had some more ideas pop into my head. I know that the world is more or less already put together. I just need to kind of put them down on paper, spell everything out for the world books and things. And who knows? Maybe by the end of the year, I'll have another Kickstarter ready to test the waters and see how things go. One of the things that I do, I started drawing it up. It is not even remotely ready yet. I probably am going to do a tiny little Kickstarter in a couple of months for a product that I don't think that it's going to be the kind of thing that, you know, someone goes, oh my God, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I have to have 5. Do I think that it'll be just tongue-in-cheek and just fun enough that, you know, if backer level's $20, that we'll see, you know, we'll see some headway on it? Sure. But when I get a little closer to that being a reality, I'll talk more about it. It came out of I was watching a terrible movie on Netflix, and they were doing something similar, and I paused and was like, you know what? I bet I could shift this to a game dynamic. And there you have it. I created a game aid out of a dumb horror movie, you know, gimmick. Silly is what it was. But hopefully, you know, he says that I will be able to use that gimmick to create something cool for people who want to make their game nights just a little more cooler. That makes any sense. It's me being silly, but you know, as things are progressing, you know, I had as a freelancer, I had some bites on some things. I've got a couple of game engines that I have shipped to, or you know, tried to get out to a couple of different people, and we'll see how. We'll see just how well that stuff is received, and who knows, maybe I will, you know, make some solid pitches while I'm at Gen Con for some stuff. Whatever that may be, I will. I've come to the decision that I need to keep all my options flowing, because there were a few things that I thought were surefire contracts, that were sure things that were going to happen to me, that did not gel quite like I thought they would. And there's a few things that have gelled in a different way, if that makes any sense. They gelled either slower or not quite to the extent that I thought they would. And what that's done is that it has put me kind of on the back foot. I'm still scrambling for work, and I'm still looking for stuff. So I'm gonna probably, you know, start shopping some of those ideas around to other places, because the initial people who I showed, they didn't bite, you know. And if you're not, I've got to be in that kind of position where if, you know, you don't take the opportunity, I've got to shop at someplace else. You know, I love the people who I've been talking to, and I love the companies that I'm working for. But if you pass on it, you know, I got to feed my family. I got to keep my keep the roof over my head, and eventually have enough money to start going back to Origins and other similar situations. So yeah, I look forward to having some more products to show off, and you know, hopefully game engines to test and things to put my playtesters through the ringers. as well as more sculpting on the table. This is just, I think this summer is going to be good. It's going to be all together good for Bryan, good for Ursa's Den. That's the name of my freelance company. Good for Artemis Portraits. I think that we're it might not be the summer that I thought I was going to have, but I think it's going to turn out to be an awesome one. And I have every bit of faith in all of these moving parts, that while it might not be easy at the moment, it's gonna come out. You know, something's gonna come of it, and one of these days I'm gonna do an episode, and the episode name is gonna be Yay! Lots of A's and then an exclamation point or 5. And when you see that as the name of the episode, know that something awesome has happened that I can tell you about, because that will be me telling everybody how fantastic of a particular thing is. And you guys will get to rejoice with me that I was right and summer turned out awesome. All right, well, I'm going to finish up with this color, this brown base coat that I'm doing here on Super Mutant Crotch, because I just glanced over at my timer and it says that we're sitting just around 45 minutes of hobby time on this dual rig, and knowing that there was that, and knowing that we had the intro time and the dog interruption, I'm trying to keep my videos to be roughly an hour and not too much more than that, because I don't want people to get bored. So while I'm finishing up with this color here on these couple of models that I need to put this color on, I'm going to take a quick second and let you know that in the next couple of weeks, I will not only be doing my regular vlog stuff. You guys will, that's normal. You'll see that. But also, expect to see at least one, probably multiple, commercials for the Gen Con charity event. The people who are involved are super awesome, and because of that, I'm getting a lot of great ideas for them to use on their social media, and to talk about what they want to do to help promote the event. Speaking of the event, while I'm kind of running my trap, one of the viewers, one of you viewers actually had asked, what can I do? I'm not going to make it to Gen Con. What can I do to help out with the charity event? Now, originally, I was going to start up a GoFundMe to specifically put together for the Gen Con charities, and then at the event, basically unveil the GoFundMe and say, okay, this is how much we made. But it occurred to me that I already have the GoFundMe for my wife's medical bills, and I did not want to be bombarding people with requests, that would the, hey, money. That's I don't want that to be that way. But I am going to take outside donations if for some reason you're not going to be able to make it to Gen Con, or you're not going to be able to make it to the event at Gen Con, and you want to donate to the event. I'm going to put my PayPal address in the description of the thing, in the description of this video and probably the next couple of videos. If you are interested in just donating to the charity event, then send your donation to my PayPal, and then specifically in the description, the when you send somebody payment, where it says goods and services, friends and family, that kind of thing. But in the description, it specifically put in there that because I do a lot of eBay business, specifically put in there that this is donation for charity event, and put your name on there so I can basically at the event, I plan on counting up all the marbles that we sell at the event, all the money that we create there, plus all the stuff that I take in via PayPal. I plan on basically reading off any outside names and giving the charity officer the check for that amount at the event. Hopefully on camera so everyone can see. Either way, at some point I will be reporting back the total amount that we generate at the event, so we can celebrate and be like, how awesome was this, and then get ready for the next one. Either way, I'll put my PayPal description in there, or my Addy in there just in case, along with all the other stuff. I know I put a lot of links on all these videos, but it's because I want you guys to be able to go and do and click and do the stuff that we're talking about and be involved. All right, not done yet. So, I've got a sneeze coming. I don't want to sneeze. Maybe I'll edit that out. I don't know. Whatever's going on, I'm super psyched for the charity event, and honestly, so are the industry celebs. They're pumped too. And if anything, when I was putting this together, I was real nervous. I shouldn't be. I talked to Hollywood people. I talked to people from people from TV and media all the time, especially through Natalie's portrait business now. I'm friends with people from the Arrow show. Like, it shouldn't be it shouldn't be a big deal, especially considering some of these people are my honest to goodness friends away from the industry. Like, I wouldn't have met them aside from the industry, but I count them amongst my actual friends beside that. And I have to say that it was daunting for me to be like, all right, I'm asking you guys to get up in front of people and play D&D and hope that people give us money for it. It's not our money, it's for the charity, but even then, it's just it's a little daunting, and it made me it made me a little nervous to ask these people. And last week I had my first person actually get in touch with me and ask if they could be involved, that they had heard about it and they wanted to be involved. And that was probably, between that and the players getting excited with the roles that I have come up with for them, between those two things, I don't think I've been more excited about a gaming thing in a while. So check out the event page. Check out, go to, I'll put the invite to the actual Facebook event page too. If you are a Gen Con attendee, please buy your ticket. There's only 100 chairs for the people who, for people who are audience members. We'll let people walk in with, their, whatchamacallit, generic tickets and things, but if you are an actual attendee, like you were a pre-reg, you also get a free marble. Haha, just as a side note. And if you're wondering what I mean by marbles, it means you probably didn't watch the last episode because I was talking a lot about how the charity thing would work. Go back and watch episode 9 if you don't know anything about the marbles. But yeah, so I am super pumped, very, very, very excited for this whole thing to come together. And I hope that this becomes something that I can do for more celebrities, and eventually maybe do this. You know, I heard people do like the Twitch streams, you know, where they do like an online play, and you get to, you know, bid events or bid your money for the charity via online auction or something. You know, maybe I can eventually this will become popular enough that I'll be able to set something up like this. You know, me personally, I also am hoping that we get enough attention on the concept of Spelljammer that we can convince the powers that be to let me make an official Spelljammer 5th Ed sourcebook to unlock that world again, so we can add some craziness, you know, feed a little bit off of that Starfinder jazz to make the kind of sword and swashbuckling sorcery in space for alliteration's sake. You know, these are the things that I want, and I'm hoping that this event helps make that a reality. I don't know if it will. I have every faith that it's going to do great. So just pay, you know, watch my channel, watch my Facebook, watch Twitter. We will be talking more about that, and you'll probably see some posters go up, and maybe you know, see these commercials when they come out. I'm excited, and I think that it's going to be awesome. So here is to hoping for piles upon piles upon piles of marbles being passed around and purchased in the name of charity. All right, so I am done with that color, and we are just under an hour, so I need to cut this off and get back over to the other rig to sign out and get everything mixed together. So we'll see you in a few.
All right, so I know that probably ran a little long. I hope you guys don't mind, but I needed that. I needed to take a breather and get my brain out of that space. I don't know what I'm going to do for next week. Not yet. I've got a couple of good ideas from that thread I opened up a few weeks ago. But if you've got an idea or a comment, put it in the comments below. A suggestion in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and like the videos. Spread them around. Aside from just the useful information that I think is on them, I'd like to hear from more people. I want to know whether or not, you know, anybody's getting anything out of this, and if it's you know, something that I should keep focusing on, and you know, keep it in the schedule, so to speak, because I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I hope you guys are too. I want to hear from you in the comments. So without further ado, we'll see you later. We'll see you next week, and let's go out there and play some games.